Hello everyone. My name is Linh from University of Languages and International Studies, Vietnam National University. It is such a great honor of mine to be here today to present about my research on the effectiveness of interactive software in teaching teenage learners in Vietnamese EFL classroom. There are 8 parts in my presentation. The first one is introduction. The second one is literature review, which I briefly summarize all the related paper and studies about my research. And then I will also identify the gap between these research and my research. Next part is research methods, where I mentioned about the research participants, about the research design, and some tools I employ for to collect the data. Next is the findings, discussion, conclusion, references, and Q&A. Introduction. As everyone knows, the internet has significantly transformed the way of teaching and learning English. Therefore, thanks to the employment of the internet in teaching and learning, different ways of learnings have been introduced recently, such as blended learning and online classrooms. In addition, many online teaching tools are introduced to facilitate the learning and teaching process, especially during the COVID-19 period when all the schools in Vietnam was shut down and all teachers and students had to go online to teach and study, not just English, but also other subjects. There are some very famous and popular online teaching tools, such as Kahoot, quizzes, and Plickers. Therefore, in order to identify the effectiveness of using the interactive online tools in English language class, there are 2 research questions have been used for this research. The first one is, what are the benefits of interactive online tools in student learning process? And the second one is, what are the limitations of interactive online tools in student learning process? After these 2 questions, the researcher hopes to find out about the advantages and disadvantages of these interactive online tools. Therefore, we can think of some solutions or make some recommendations to improve, to better the use of interactive online tools in class. In terms of literal review, Ahmed et al. In 2013 agreed that when using computer games, student learning motivation increased because all the games are so fun, and when taking part in these activities and games, students feel more inspired, and their motivation was boost up, and then they want to study and they want to get more involved in the lesson. In addition, student social skill development was also found because Ahmed et al. Believed that when students playing the games in groups, they had to interact with other members so that they can learn some soft skills such as team working skill or problem solving skill. In addition, Chiu et al. In 2019 claimed that computer games will also promote their cognitive development, such as critical thinking, and challenge their understanding about the subject. However, most of the research was conducted in overseas, and this is not really related to the Vietnamese context, so that I decided to do the research about this topic, but in Vietnam, so that we can find some practical solution or practical methods of employing these tools in teaching. In terms of the research method, both quantitative and qualitative approach were employed in this method, and 92 students from 3 different classes in Hanoi take part in this research. Because there are 32 high school students, so I want to use the quantitative approach so that I can collect the data and process it better. However, learning is not a product, it's a process, so that I want to use the qualitative approach to dig deeper into the matter and give an insight into the student mind to really understand what they are thinking and what are their problems, so that I can put forward some relevant and effective solutions. There are three different tools are employed for the data collection. The first one is observation, so that I can observe what actually really happened in class during the time that I employ the interactive online games. And then I do a survey to get to know what the students think. And with the student, we have some special answers, some interesting responses to the question, or some problem with the survey or the questionnaire results. I will invite them to take part in the interviews. There are two types of interview: group interview and individual interview. Group interview aims to collect the data from different perspectives, because when students participate in group interviews, they need to interact with each other so that all the information collected will be triangulated and cross-checked between the students participate in the interviews. However, in the class, there might be some students who are kind of shy and they don't want to share in front of other people. So I invite them to take part in individual interview so that they will feel more willing to talk about the topic and about what they really think to me. And all the interviews are semi-structured, which means that there will be some prepared question in advance so that all the interview will follow the same format, which will facilitate the data process, process later. And then during the interview, there might be some question pop up, and I will use the question to interview the participant so that I can understand their ideas better. And the data will be processed qualitatively with grounded theory approach to really understand what is actually happening inside the student mind. In terms of findings, first one, participants find the vocabulary most difficult in English, with 39 out of 92 students selecting it. In addition, what students want to improve most in English is vocabulary. As you can see, vocabulary outnumbers other aspects of English language, becoming the area students want to improve the most. In the interview, many of them said that vocabulary is very hard for them compared with other skills like grammar and speaking, listening, writing, and reading. So they really want to improve their vocabulary. Others said that the vocabulary is the core. To be more specific, if you want to talk, you need some words to talk, or if you want to write, you need to have enough vocabulary to write. So students really want to improve their vocabulary so that they can become better at English and they can use the English better. And what students think is improved most through interactive online games. Fortunately, 69 out of 32 students, which means the majority of students, believe that their vocabulary was improved thanks to the interactive online games. They said that during the games they can play, they can revise, they have to pray their mind to think of their answers, which help them to remember the words much better. And a large number of students find interactive online games very motivating and interesting. Games are very funny and they want to join more, they want to play more, and they feel more eager or more inspired to study better. And the last question in the interview is about what students think should be improved in interactive online games. Most of the students think that the school facility and technology should be improved because during the lessons, there are a lot of times when technical problems appear, which cause the frustration in the student and make the activities quite time-consuming. Discussion. According to the research, most students believe that interactive online games is very effective in assisting students to improve their vocabulary. Many of them feedback that because they went playing games, they were very excited and the nature of the games were competitiveness. So they could remember the words right after the game and knew how to use these words in real life context, which means that the interactive online games help them a lot in improving their vocabulary. In addition, because most students find their vocabulary, problematic, and interactive online games can help them to deal with this issue. Students highly recommend this activity as an in-class and homework activity. Thanks to interactive online games, the class atmosphere was stirred up, generating a better learning environment. Students also found interactive online games connected students in the class, improving their teamwork skills, because when they play game, they need to cooperate with other students in the same group. However, there are some problems that decrease the effectiveness of learning activity. Firstly, because the class is set in a low-resource environment in Vietnam, where not not all the schools are well equipped with facility, so it's quite hard for teachers to conduct the activities in class. And even they can conduct these activities, there are a lot of technical problems appearing, which will which makes the learning process and the teaching process harder. And the upgrade of then some students find difficulties in understanding the instruction before the games, because when the teacher delivers the instruction in English, sometimes it's quite hard for them to understand, and sometimes they are not really clear about the rules, so they make mistake during the playing process. In conclusion, this research paper aimed at investigating the effectiveness of interactive online games in teaching teenage students in English in EFL classroom in Vietnam. Through clear and careful analysis and discussion of the results collected from the observations, survey, and interviews, the great assistance of interactive online games in promoting student vocabulary and stirring up the class atmosphere have been revealed. However, there are several limitations that decrease the effectiveness of this learning method, including the low quality of facilities and technology, as well as unclear instruction. And the upgrade of the facilities, the reinforcement of the rules in class, as well as adequate and explicit instruction before the games were recommended. These are some sources, some references that I use in my research. If you have any questions, feel free to send an email to me or give some comments under my presentation. I will try my best to answer all of your questions. And thank you so much for your listening. I hope that you have a nice day and nice weekend ahead.